Brakatia Hawa, Brakatia Shai, Brakatia Hawa, Brakatia Shai, Brakatia Hawa, Brakatia Hawa, Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim, Rachakwadash, the belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. And salutations to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim, those Akim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Pardon me. On the pre-Shaman, this week's lesson is going to be a response to a video that was put up by Defense Updates entitled U.S. Air Force deploys B-1B bombers in Diego Garcia for the first time since 2006. Which I thought is interesting because first thing that came to my mind was China and India. And when you jump into the comments, right? And did you see recently, if you check one of these channels, whether it be GMS Bread&Olive or GMS Overdrive 144, I did a video mentioning the effect that these smaller nations are playing and the roles of these larger nuclear capable nations. In case in point, Taiwan, right? The fight for Taiwan. We know that America truly does not care if Taiwan's an independent state or not, but if it is independent, quote unquote, and we could get them allied with NATO or allied with the United States, we can now position U.S. military weapons closer to China. That's what I was mentioning. Now, when you go into these comments, all right, you can see people already saying, shit getting real again. China open eyes, LOL. Then you could attack Asia and Africa. See, people already know when the so-called white man is positioning his military personnel over the world or weapons or what have you, it's not for peace, it's for war. Scriptures tell you that though he speaks smoothly with his words, yet war was in his heart, roughly paraphrasing. That's in the so-called white man's heart. Here's one comment. Why the F isn't Taiwan on the map? Is it a free and independent nation and should be respected as such? This video, China, help me Pakistan. And yeah, so, look, at the end of the day, the United States does reign supreme in military might. The scripture said they would. And some of the stuff, a lot of the tech that they release to the public is like 80s tech that they just upgraded. But it's still far superior than what China got. So ultimately, these nations are going to have to ally themselves if they want a chance in defeating the United States when, they eventually will turn their back on the U.S. And if I could, before I go into the scriptures, I'm just going to pull up this map over here. So this is what the places that that bomber was stationed. And I'm sure they have other different bases and islands in the Indian Ocean. And when I looked up this island, Diego Garcia, it's owned by who? It's owned by the British. It's owned by the United Kingdom. Which the United Kingdom also will turn its back on the United States. Those that are confederate with you, as it says in the book of Obadiah, it also says in the book of Jeremiah, thy mother shall be confounded in thee. All right, so roughly paraphrasing, in other words, who's the mother of the United States? United Kingdom, right? Because that's America came out of the British. So the British ultimately will turn their back. But look what is this position, right? Here's the United States, all the way over here. This is the world now. All the way over here is the United States. That little dot is me over here in New York, right? And all the way over here, we're gonna put bombers. Why? Close to India, which has missiles. Pakistan, which has missiles, because Pakistan and India is really the same nation. They're the same people. The British is the ones that broke them up, and you have China over here. You know what I'm saying? So you can see with the United States, all in ocean territories are positioning themselves with bombers. And we always say, look, man, when this world war takes place, America's not going to be the only one that's going to get hit really hard. America's going to be doing a lot of destruction. They're going to, the United States military has bases stationed all over the world, military and bombers deployed every single which way. Now they're gonna tell you that the B-1 doesn't have any nuclear bombs on it to comply with the treaty that they created called the New START Treaty in 2011. But again, who really knows? You know what I'm saying? Stuff could be going on behind the scenes, and with politics again, they lie. This is Book of Ezekiel 21:9. It says, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Say, a sword is sharpened and furbished, and also furbished, right? So a sword just represents an instrument of destruction, all right? Whether it's the different instruments to destroy Jake, as during the time of Ezekiel, right? Or what we're talking about now, the missiles. Okay, how is the missile sharpened? Because the technological advancement of nuclear capabilities, from when it was first deployed upon Hiroshima and Nagasaki till now, it's far greater. You know, you have these jets that could travel at hypersonic speeds, bombers that could travel at hypersonic speeds, and they have nuclear warheads on them in them. All right, and those nuclear warheads have multiple warheads. All right, 200,000 or 200 million warheads. Why? Because one missile could carry, who knows, up to 1,000 warheads. You know, we truly never know what this man has in secret because no military is going to really disclose what they have. Prime example, the United States still deny that they have hypersonic missiles. Well, I know for a fact the United States have hypersonic missiles and they had it before Russia. All right, I had a military dude that I work with that, disclosed that information to me. You know, you're never gonna truly get what they have, man. So for the United States to be this proud in the shit that they do, there's a reason they are proud because they could, if shit goes south, deploy a lot of swords that's been furbished and sharpened. Again, that's the technology. That's alluded to the technological advancement because when you sharpen a sword, it's for it to issue more destruction, right? To be sharper, it could cut through, more things and at a faster rate. So, what's the equivalent of that? The missiles, what they're capable of doing, right, through technological advancements, all right, and technology plays a huge part in prophecy. All right, for prophecies to advance, technology has to advance, and as it says in the book of Daniel, was it 12:4? Knowledge shall increase. Certain prophecies that you go into, it is going to take technological advancements. All right, we always speak about the RFID microchip. All right, that's a technologically advanced thing to happen. All right, World War III in itself, nuclear missiles that's going to pretty much terraform the planet Earth. Even scriptures like in the book of Ezekiel, the 4th chapter, when it goes into eating your bread to follow amongst the Gentiles, that GMO food again involves advanced technology, which is also a sword. That GMO shit that the so-called white man gives us is a slow destruction, slow death. It's still used as a means of destruction. Verse 10, Ezekiel 21:10. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it might glitter. Should we then make mirth? All right, knowing the times that we in, right? Brothers are doing shows, always bringing up the prophecies of what the hell is going on in the world. You subscribe to RT America, all they do is talk about war and pretty much what really goes on in the world that mainstream news don't want to cover because the whole thing in America is to keep the people entertained, all right, in a state of bread and circuses, just like the ancient Romans did when the society was collapsing. All right, they always had the people going to the games and check out the gladiators and shit, all smoke and mirrors while the empire was imploding, right? So should we then make mirth? Should we then give into this jovial spirit and be hand in hand with the world, knowing all these things about to take place? Absolutely not, man. All right. In fact, we ought to walk circumspect, constantly looking at and measuring the time diligently in itself. Meaning, no, it's not the time to be setting up businesses and colleges and shit like that and trying to build New Nazareth and college universities and parties and hell no. All right. Look, we always in the spirit of hastening the day. That day might be the end of this year, the end of next year, or then at the end of the year after that. But that's the mindset we always gonna be in, all right? Because that's sort of what the Lord guided. The Lord guided to where a lot of things that happen where anything could pop off at any minute. We can't give you the set date and time, but just like the Lord told his disciples in Matthew the 24th chapter, there's signs, and those signs are pointing towards the end, man. And I know people have been saying, "Oh, y'all been saying that for a very long time," yada yada yada. But hell, man, Noah was out there for 100 years, and they didn't know exactly what day. Over 100 years, they didn't know exactly what day it was. That Noah was prophesying about it raining until it actually happened. So we telling you instead of water falling out the sky, it's gonna rain fire, nuclear hellfire to baptize this world, to cleanse it. Um, During the time of Noah, Lord baptized the earth with water, and during the time of Yahweh Shai, he's going to baptize the world with fire. Okay? Nuclear hellfire from the blessed missiles. It says it contemneth, it contamineth the rod. Let me see this word here. Or to reject, to despise, refuse, to reject. Okay. It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree. And he hath given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. In other words, these missiles right now, again alluding the sword to the missiles, aren't being built for no reason. All right, they're meant to be handled. They're meant to be used. They're meant to be arrows are meant to be put in the bow and shot. That's the purpose of the Lord's army. All right, one of the Lord's army, which is the nuclear missiles. It says that he hath given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. The sword is sharpened and it is furbished, to give it into the hand of the slayer. And who's going to be doing the slaying? A lot of these nations, man. A lot of these nations that have nuclear capabilities are going to be using them. And I know it sounds crazy to somebody that does not believe or might just not be hearing it. Why would people shoot missiles upon each other and create this sort of nuclear war that will leave most of us dead? And the reason being is the Lord is going to put an evil thought in these leaders, chiefly starting with the Russians. Okay, this is Ezekiel 38:10. It says, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, it shall come to pass that at that same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought," going into the king, right, of Gog and Magog, which is Russia. Okay, even in this video, look at the related video. Russia threat to NATO, ballistic republics. See, and look, they got a bear. How prophetic, you know what I'm saying? So everybody sort of, even people that don't even understand the Israelite thing, equate Russia with the bear and a great war. You know what I'm saying? So it's that spirit's in the air, man. All right, and eventually, though Vladimir Putin, he was pussyfooting. We don't know if it's gonna be him exactly, whatever. The Lord is gonna trigger something in the minds of that leader, man, and it's gonna trigger like a chain effect, where they're just gonna say the hell with it. And oddly enough, not oddly, but you know the Rothschilds, they want this as well. You know, the Rothschilds, the elites, they want a World War III. They push for it because they have something called the Georgia Guidestones, which is to bring the population to 500 million. I mean, what else can bring the population from nearly 8 billion to 500 million, if not a nuclear war? So they want that, and their whole thing is after the nuclear war happens, they're going to come and rule the remaining population because they're going to survive it, which is true. They will survive it, and well, partly true because they're not going to rule after they survive the nuclear holocaust. They're going to be the remnant of slaves. You have a remnant to be delivered, which is the nation of Israel, and you have a remnant of the wicked that's going to be preserved to be the first batch of slaves and the kingdom to come, right? Yahweh Shai's kingdom, his people being joint heirs, and the elect being the first fruits of this kingdom, which, Lord willing, we hope we are part of. This is Job 20:22. It says, "In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits," right? Because I mentioned that they're going to almost put a capstone on this enlightened utopia, this new world order that they envision. But he's going to be in straits. In other words, as it says in the book of Amos, we're going to dig them out of hell, and we're going to get them out of heaven. So they have underground bunkers, DUMBs, as they call them, deep underground military bases, dumb. And they have space stations. You have guys like Elon Musk working on SpaceX. You have Blue Oracle, which is Jeff Bezos, and you have Richard Branson, Virgin Galactic, doing space. So this concept of space travel and entering the outer rim is already out there. They already made movies like Elysium. So whether they know it or indirectly don't know what the hell why the Most High motivated them, is for this purpose, that the elites could survive what's to come, so that they could, clean up the dead bodies, as it says, just be put to work. something that they haven't done since they came out the womb, right? It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Now, that word there, wicked, is Aimah, which means the laborers, all right? So we're the laborers. The elect are going to be the first, and really all the nation of Israel in the kingdom of heaven are going to get their hands on these devils. And we're going to have the power to remember, not just this carnation, but, when they put hell on us as the Greeks. Antiochus is going to be one of the prized Edomites in the kingdom. You're going to have Jakes from all over the universe coming, once a year. Shit, once every week, who knows, just to beat the hell out of this dude. You know what I'm saying? So the hands of the wicked, the hands of the laborers are going to get their hands on the elites because they've indirectly put hands on us. You know what I'm saying? In other words, they create situations that just fuck us up, that puts us in constant stress, or they have food deserts everywhere, just setting up our people for failure and destruction. You know what I'm saying? But we're not going to do anything indirectly. We're going to come right at you, Esau. A rod of iron, as the scripture says. So, bing, bang, boom, over your head. All right? Foot sideways up your ass. We're going to be getting down, man. We're going to be doing all types of... Jake is so stylish. So when we come to torturing, it's going to be cool. And like cool to us, not cool to you. Unless we tell you, look, cracker, say this is cool. You're going to be like, yes, master. But we're going to be doing all types of, as the scripture says, our heart's going to meditate terror. You know what I'm saying? We're going to think of all, we're going to let that dude, what's his name, Jigsaw. He's going to look like a kindergartner to some of the stuff that we're going to come with, the traps and fatalities that we're going to be doing. Shit, man. Verse 23. When he's about to fill his belly, cap on the New World Order or Enlightened Utopia, as Esau elites call it. When he's about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he's eating. The missiles, man. All right. Okay. After this whole RFID chip becomes mandatory, because right now Vanessa's the mandate, but all roads is leading to the MOTB, which is the RFID microchip. That's going to be mandated and implemented in the majority of people in the world. All right? Because you're not going to be able to buy or sell, work, anything without this, man. Link your phone. It's going to be tied to everything. Most people that don't have that, or the few people that are not going to have the chip, is going to be like you off the grid, like you don't even exist. Just like how they had that movie Minority Report, when a dude took out his eyes, like nobody really knew the hell he was, because everything was done all through your eyes, and they scanned your eyes, and everything was tied to your eyes. Everything's going to be tied to your chip, and if you don't have that, you're pretty much a nomad, He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. The iron weapon being the missiles, all right? The bow of steel, again, the missiles. It is drawn and come out of the body, yea, the glittering sword come out of his gall, terror are upon him, right? So that glittering sword, in the ancient world, you sharpened your sword, just like we read in Ezekiel, and you took it out the sheath, it would like glitter in the sunlight, However, that's an ancient world sword. The new sword, the missiles, they're going to look like glittering stars. As it says in the book of Jeremiah 51:11, I'm going to read it. It says, make bright the arrows. See, because in the ancient world, if you watch the movie 300, when they shot arrows into the sky, it blotted out the sun. Everything became dark. But these arrows are going to be bright. And they're going to be raining from all over. You already see right now with this video that, the United States Air Force deploys B-1B bombers in Diego Garcia for the first time. That means that you have United States, other nations that have bombers that are closer to the enemy's nation, closer than we know. So when detonation day comes, when this is not a test, I repeat, this is not a test, and you hear them sirens, and it's gonna be over in a matter of minutes, man. All right, because it's gonna take minutes to get here, and this whole land of America is gonna be wiped out within an hour. So that right there lets you know that you have bright arrows stationed very close to America, and America has their arrows stationed very close to these particular nations as well. So it's gonna be an all-out bloodbath. All right, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahshua raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes, Russia, and of Medes For his device is against Babylon. Now, this Jeremiah 50, the 50th chapter and the 51st chapter is a letter written to the daughter of Babylon, written to Babylon. Jeremiah, he writes letters to a few nations. One of them being Babylon in the verse chapters 50 to 51. But the things that Jeremiah wrote in 50 and 51 didn't apply to ancient world Babylon. It didn't fit. All right, like the things didn't come to pass. And the Most High is not a man that he should lie, and he's not an author of confusion. Example, Jeremiah tells us that Babylon would be destroyed. However, we know that ancient Babylon was not utterly destroyed. It was annexed by the Persian Empire. So what's the Babylon it's talking about? It's talking about here in America. Babal, confusion, and Lon is land, the land of confusion. And what more is a greater example of a land of confusion than the United States of America? It says, for his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, the vengeance of his temple. So the Lord is going to take vengeance upon America. Why? Because of the rape, robberies, and murders this place has done to the apple of the Most High's eyes, which is Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which were still, to this day, being slain by the so-called white man. Zechariah 11 and 5. Who persist to slay them and hold themselves not guilty. So there's a lot of blood pursuant to Nahum 3 and 1. This is a bloody city, and it's not going to be cleansed. So what? The land, the blood that has all been shed from all of our people, man. Everybody on this tribe, in one way, shape, or form, or matter, blood's been shed here in America, and there's a price to pay for that, man. All right, whether they allied themselves with United Britain to bring hell upon us, islands of Haiti and Santo Domingo and the West Indian Islands, you know what I'm saying? There's blood here that has to be paid for. I'm gonna close out with this, man, because this man, Esau, Edom, all right, he has a lot. Cain, he has a lot of blood, man. Not just in this lifetime, but in previous lifetimes that we've walked the earth. Genesis 9 and 6. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of the Most High made he man. Right? So blood for blood. You know what I'm saying? Life for life. Because why? Blood is the life. One more. Colossians 3 and 25. And it reads, but he that doeth wrong, and the things I just mentioned was wrong. Because the scripture says, love worketh no ill towards his neighbor. And we are brother to the so-called white man. Jacob and Esau are blood brothers. All right, the Negro here in America is closer to the white man than the so-called African. Even though they might look alike in skin comparison and stuff, but no, gene-wise, we're closer to the white man than African. So-called African is not even a Shemite, so that right there proves it goes deeper than looks. Right? It says, but he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done. And Ecclesiastes 8 and 11 tells us just because sentence is not done speedily, it's fully set in the heart of man to do evil, right? So this man, the so-called white man, he's been on the run from judgment for a number of years. And it's only about a matter of time before prophecies are fulfilled and he's going to face that judgment, right? He's just a cancer on the planet Earth. And we understand that he's set up to do what he's meant to do. What really would be wicked if the so-called white man was righteous, because that's not his purpose. He was put here to be wicked. All right, he's doing a good, perfect job at it. Now that you've done the job at it, now here's the consequences. Okay. It says, but he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respective person. So just like the son of the Most High's, the children of the Most High, the saints, the Israelites, received for the wrong that we have done, and there was no respective persons there. Why? Because we committed adultery, spiritual fornication, you name it. We broke a lot of sins. We broke a lot of laws, which is again is sin. Sin is a transgression of the law. 1 John 3 and 14. And we paid for it. And we're still paying for it now. And there's no respect of person. So Lord had put every single nation, every 17 nation, at one point or another, was ruling over his own people, the Israelites. So it's time now for you nations to get your judgment. All right? And that starts in the kingdom of heaven. But before the kingdom of heaven, World War III has to take place. So hey man, it's a beautiful thing that hey man, they're putting bombers closer to the other nations that are threats. We'll see where this goes because right now this current president, he might get the hell out of there because he's buddy with China. Who, you know what I'm saying? This dude Biden. We'll see where this turns out. Even somebody put that on the comment board too, saying that this president, when we get a new president, that won't stand for China shit or something like that, what have you. But let's see how this thing plays out, man. We're in some serious times. With that, I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Hakodash, that belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there. Yoakim to Zadakim, to do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Shalom.